We have this from End Wokeness. Lester Holt says, you called your opponent an existential threat and said to put Trump in a bullseye. Biden says, I didn't say crosshairs. Before we play the clip, I'll show you this. Dan Goldman saying on MSNBC, Trump has to be eliminated. When he said this, we all collectively like, stop. You can't say that. We were very critical of it. Then you have this. Steve Guest tweeting, Joe Biden on July 8th, 2024. He said, I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye, Biden said.
He said
which
that
resulted
to donors.
in this.
You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there's very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him.
It was a mistake, he says.
I swear he was about to say, I didn't write that post, because I don't actually think he manages his own social media.
So we've seen rhetoric from Democrats, and even right now, actually, I think I may have one of these tweets still. I don't
if I may just highlight, that is so patently absurd of an explanation. A bullseye is shooting something in the center of the target. And his explanation was that they weren't putting enough attention on the Trump campaign. They've been trying to put this guy in jail for 3 years now. The Agenda 2025 has been on the radar for the last 3. It's such a lie. But they use that rhetoric. Dan Goldman has blood on his hands for what he said earlier. I mean, we were all railing on him when he said that. They know damn well what they're doing. They are putting out the political permission slip, the dog whistle for their lunatic lefties to carry out the wishes of their masters. And one person did it.
They did it in 2020. They did it in 2016, or not 2016. But do you remember when Maxine Waters told people to go confront Trump officials and Trump admin people wherever they were and tell them they're not welcome? And then that happened. Sarah Huckabee
I'm going to try to be a little
pushed
bit
out of a Waffle House.
I'm going to try to be a little bit principled here. I don't think that Dan Goldman has blood on his hands. I don't think this rhetoric is even that inflammatory. I mean, I think we hear much more inflammatory things pretty regularly, and I don't think this is what led that guy to do what he did. And if it were, I mean, I still think his actions speak for themselves, not rhetoric like this. Because if we held that standard across the board, I'm sure we could pretty quickly find stuff that, we could attach a lot of alleged killings to a lot of it.
Completely disagree. This show particularly. Prime time, one of the top shows on YouTube in that slot, and we say all the time not to broach that. I have complained about people who come on the show and make allusions to violence. I say, do not do it.
You cut them off.
I mean,
pulled the string.
I admire you going above and beyond.
Look, that one's obvious, okay? We don't want to get banned. But I also do get very upset when people think it's okay and to make direct allusions to violence. Now, I get it. If you say fight, 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 oh, come on. We know what that means. If AOC says we're going to get out there and fight, we know what it means. And I'm not even that concerned necessarily about Maxine Waters saying get out there and confront people. It's like you're getting a little close on the line. Joe Biden saying put him in a bullseye, okay, is the line. Okay, I can understand where it's like there may be some rhetoric there, turn of phrase, but you cannot have Joe Biden, you cannot have George Takei, who just came out, and all these Democrats saying things like he needs to be eliminated, he's an existential threat, he's a threat to democracy, he's Hitler, etc., and not expect people who engaged in the worst riots in 50 years to do something like this. Now, this man who took the shot at Donald Trump is 20 years old. Since he was 12, he has been inundated with a constant barrage of these media personalities and Democrats saying Donald Trump is Hitler. What is a young person developing in their mind? What are they going to see? The rhetoric is clear. The creation in this person's mind is clear. What happens? This is why we can't have that kind of language.
I think it's a dangerous first, I wanted to come out and say I admire and commend you for trying to help tone down the rhetoric with many of your guests that come on and have a line in the sand. I do think some of Joe Biden's and some of the Democrats, and I'm sure it's not limited to them, I'm sure there's many Republicans who use aggressive rhetoric, definitely contribute to a political climate that is hotter and more likely to have something boil over. But I think it strips the person of his agency if we're just saying, this is what caused him to do it. I don't think this is a direct call for violence, brings up the temperature, but I think it's a dangerous standard to hold them to. And
I mean, I think at this point we should reference J.D. Vance, right? He was the one who said afterwards, this wasn't an isolated incident. The Biden-Harris campaign has been pushing this idea that there will be political violence for a long time. I don't know that there's one tweet that sent someone off, again, unless we get some sort of manifesto or diary entry that says this is exactly it with a citation. But it is a culture that has definitely been pushed, that there is tension coming and everyone needs to be prepared.
And I would respectfully push back too, because I think when you hear those heated clips coming from right-wing media, I'm sure Steve Bannon probably has a lot of those moments that they are always taking out of context. We are always very precise and particular with how you channel that energy. And you always hear right-wing commentators telling people to get involved on the grassroots level and to make that change happen within the political system. In contrast, when you have people like this go on there and say things like, put him in a bullseye, put him in the crosshairs, not even sure that that's that much better, or just year after year, media cycle after media cycle, just getting this pent-up anger, making people angry. There's no outlet for it other than political violence.
On May 29th, 2020, thousands of far-left extremists firebombed the White House grounds. They set fire to St. John's Church. Donald Trump was forced into a bunker, an emergency bunker, and the collective media and Democratic apparatus insulted him over it. They mocked him. They called him bunker boy and bunker baby. 100+ law enforcement officers were injured in those riots. Photos coming out from D.C., an aerial view of smoke rising around the Capitol like the White House and the Capitol, are shocking. This was 4 years ago. And now here we are with the rhetoric has not stopped. And even after this, George Takei tweeted, Donald Trump is an existential threat, but we'll defeat him with ballots, not bullets. I'm sorry, but that rhetoric does not make sense. There's two messages there. An existential threat means we will cease to exist if he succeeds. And what that message sends, whether it's intentional or not, and I don't care what his intention is, what I'm concerned about is someone just tried and nearly killed Donald Trump, which would rip this country asunder. And now this man is saying, if we don't win, we won't exist anymore. What is the response to that statement?
Well, George Takei should be deplatformed, not for I'm not an anti-free speech person whatsoever. He knows damn well what he's doing. I just want to say also, Tim, it wouldn't have just plunged America into turmoil had that bullet been 1 millimeter. World War I started with a random Franz Ferdinand being assassinated. This would have driven the world into World War III. China would have said, well, the U.S. is in turmoil now.
They think
Let's
we're
take
in turmoil
Taiwan.
Anyway.
No, but
not as bad as that.
This bullet would have been.
We're already edging.
No, for sure. But this bullet would have been the modern day Franz Ferdinand bullet. I don't want to pick on you any more than everyone else has, but I'll say another one thing. What? It's when Trump said bloodbath, referring to an economic situation, the media went ape poop on him.
They still are.
No,
Biden talked about it in this Lester Holt interview.
It's not that I don't.
You
agree
don't think Trump said anything crazier than we'll put him in the crosshairs, or we'll put him in the bullseye?
I'll tell you what,
I'm sure he said something that is a
that,
better allusion towards violence than this.
I'll guarantee you he didn't, because if they did, they would have used it against his impeachment. Stand back, stand by, fight like hell. I mean, those are the things that they tried to impeach him for saying, for having said, because that incited violence. So it's not only that the right doesn't do it. When the right even comes close and skirts the line, they get raked over the coals by the media. These people, they know exactly what they're doing. Goldman knows exactly what he's doing, and they do have blood on their hands.
Well, and I think to give sympathy to Elad's argument here, I just don't think Joe Biden wrote this, right?
That's a loose standard for blood on his hands, I feel like, respectfully.
No, I know, but I happen to believe these are dog whistles. They know damn well what they're doing. And when we say, we got to beat them at the ballot box, not with bullets, they know exactly what they're saying, and they're giving a political permission slip for any lunatic who goes.
Is that to say you think this rhetoric should be illegal?
No, it shouldn't be illegal, but it should certainly be. No, because these are not true threats, and I don't think it should be illegal. There should be political sanctions. I think some of these things could be impeachable. At the very least, there should be a uniform standard. Fight like hell, gets impeached, horse crap.
Or I think just call their bluffs that we don't want unity with you, because I guarantee you, if in that same interview you were to ask Dan Goldman, oh, so you want unity with Trump, you're good with unity, they would say, hell no, we don't want unity. This guy's an existential
We want you dead, but we just can't say it.
But they just can't say it. And that's why I think we need to forcibly reject this whole unity narrative. Not that I'm not calling for violence or anything like that, but it's a scam. It's a lie. Unity has always been a euphemism for, frankly, I think,
submission.
Crawling back the victories that grassroots MAGA have made.
But whatever this is, whatever you think it is, or however it went down, this man failed. Unfortunately, he took the life of Corey Comparator and severely injured several others who people are chatting about. So he did still cause harm, and a lot of people say he missed, and they're mocking the idea. And I just want to stress this: they're not just talking about Trump. Even Trump said they're not after me; they're after you. I'm just in the way. In this instance, when the bullet did miss Trump, it still hit several good people who were just at an event to hear what he had to say. And so in the broader sense, the man didn't miss. He hit several people who he hated. Now, that being said, the failure to stop Donald Trump, Frank Luntz he's a famous pollster, said he was asked by numerous media outlets what this means. And he said, every Trump supporter is now a Trump voter. Done. Mm-hmm. And that's the equivalent of a 1 to 2 point poll swing instantly. Likely, these swing states are now going to go for Donald Trump, no question. And Trump is likely to win. We will see. And what that means is we have to have equality under the law. We have to have Donald Trump prove to the American people there is a law that exists and you must adhere to it, because what makes me angry, what drives me and makes me want Trump to win is the abuse of the system by Democrats, with the most egregious so far being that Steve Bannon has gone to prison and Merrick Garland has skirted the law, and the Democrats are laughing about it. They called Anna Paulina stupid for trying to uphold the law because Merrick Garland broke the law. And I am furious that we cannot get that justice. And I hope that what we see with Donald Trump, and I'm not even convinced we'll get it, is that he simply appoints a good DOJ and they say, we are going to reaffirm our commitment to justice, to the legal process and the law, and hold those accountable who have skirted the law and broken the rules.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.